Ever feel like you're drinking from a fire hose? Trying to learn all this stuff, connect all these ideas, become, a better, wiser person without getting lost in a million details.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Information overload is a real thing.
Well, today we're going to go deep on something different, a new way to think about things, a different perspective on dealing with those, well, those inevitable bumps in the road of life.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
I'm talking about, well, almost like tricking reality into solving your problems for you.
Whoa, okay, that sounds a little out there.
It does, right. It kind of goes against everything we're usually taught.
Yeah.
Analyze the problem, come up with a plan of attack, fight your way through.
Right, yeah. Typical problem solving 101.
But what if there's another way? A less direct approach, one that
Mm.
focuses on your inner world instead of that external problem.
Okay, I'm really curious now.
Well, I started thinking about this when I remembered that famous Einstein quote, "You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it." And it made me wonder, what if we could change our perspective? Not about the problem itself, but about how we relate to it. Like, change it so much that the problem, well, almost dissolves on its own.
So kind of like shifting our internal state to influence our external reality.
Exactly. And the more I've explored this, the more I've realized there are these, well, specific mental tricks, I guess you could call them, that can really make a difference.
Okay, you got to share these tricks. I'm all ears.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
And the first one, the one that really kicked things off for me, it's all about focus.
Focus. Interesting.
Yeah. I call this one, How to Stop Feeding Problems Like a Greedy Gremlin. You see, I think our problems can be a lot like those annoying neighbors. The ones who always have some reason to knock on your door, wanting your attention, your energy. Maybe they're complaining about a leaf that blew into their yard or something.
Oh, yeah, I know the type.
But here's the thing I've noticed about those neighbors. They only keep coming back if you keep answering the door. If you engage with them, give them your time, your attention. It's like you're feeding their need to complain, their need to draw you into their drama.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
And it's the same with our internal world. When something difficult pops up, you're nervous about a presentation, your computer crashes right before a deadline, our minds tend to lock onto that negative event. It's like we're shining a giant spotlight on it, letting it take center stage in our mental theater.
Yeah, I totally get that. Our attention gets so easily snagged by the negative stuff.
Right. It's like we're the spotlight operator at a play, and instead of highlighting the lead actor delivering a crucial monologue, we've got that spotlight fixated on some stagehand who tripped over a cable in the background.
Uh-huh. Yeah, great analogy.
And I saw this in action just a few weeks ago. I was heading into a presentation, feeling pretty good about it, actually. And then, bam, I knock over my coffee mug and splash it all down my shirt.
Oh no, the dreaded coffee stain.
Right. And immediately my mind starts spiraling. I'm thinking, ugh, I look like a mess. Everyone's going to be distracted. This whole presentation is doomed. It's like that coffee stain became the main event in my mind. And honestly, for a good hour, everything felt off. It was like all the positive energy I had built up just vanished.
Because wherever our focus goes, our energy follows, right?
Exactly. It's like handing your problems a megaphone and saying, all right, go ahead, ruin my day.
Yeah.
But then I had this thought, wait a minute, I'm the one steering this mental ship, right? I get to choose what gets my attention, what gets that precious mental real estate. So even with that coffee stain still staring me in the face, I made a conscious effort to shift my focus. I imagined myself walking into the room, maybe making a joke about my little mishap, getting a laugh, lightening the mood.
So you deliberately shifted your attention away from the problem and towards a more positive outcome.
Yes. And it's almost like the instant I did that, a sense of calm came over me. The presentation ended up going great, and later that afternoon, a colleague, someone I rarely talk to, just randomly walked by and handed me a fresh cup of coffee.
No way. Seriously.
Seriously, maybe it was a coincidence, but it felt like something shifted when my attention did.
So are you saying that the key is to intentionally focus on the desired resolution, not on the problem itself?
That's the heart of it. It's like saying to your problems, thanks for letting me know, but I'm choosing to focus on something else right now. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about consciously directing our attention to where we want to go, what we want to experience. And you might be surprised how often things work themselves out when you're not hyper-focused on every little snag.
That makes a lot of sense, but it also sounds like it takes practice, this conscious redirecting of focus.
It does, especially at first. But like any skill, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
Now, the second area where I've noticed a huge impact is in how we handle our emotional reactions.
Emotional reactions, yeah. Those can be tricky.
Right? Our emotions are powerful. They can motivate us, connect us, but they can also drag us into a whole lot of unnecessary drama and problems. They seem to thrive on those strong emotional responses.
You mean like when we get really upset or frustrated?
Exactly. It's like every time we have a big emotional reaction, we're giving the problem more energy, more power.
So our reactions are actually fueling the problem.
That's what it feels like to me. I learned this the hard way when I first moved into my own place. I was finally independent, rent was paid, fridge was full, I was feeling great, and then, bam, a parking ticket.
Ugh, parking tickets, the worst.
Right? And I just lost it. I was standing there fuming, thinking, seriously,
Yeah.
this is how my new life is starting. It was such a minor thing, but it completely ruined my afternoon. I was mad, mopey, probably insufferable to be around.
It's amazing how those little things can hijack our whole mood.
Totally. But what I didn't realize then was how my emotional outburst was exactly what that parking ticket needed to win. It's like there's this weird dynamic where our frustration actually feeds the problem. The more I reacted, the worse it felt. But then I had this realization, what if I could just, not react so strongly? What if I started treating these little annoyances as just that little annoyances, not major crises?
Interesting. So instead of getting swept up in the emotion, you try to detach yourself a bit.
Exactly. And fast forward a few months, my internet goes out right in the middle of streaming a movie. Old me would have been yelling at the router, calling the internet company, getting super stressed. But this time, we just kind of shrugged and thought, it happens. No big emotional drama.
Did the world end?
Nope. It was actually fine. I found something else to do, and the internet came back on pretty quickly. The key seems to be not handing over your emotional state to every little inconvenience.
So it's not about ignoring our emotions entirely, but about choosing how much we let them control us.
Yes. It's not about pretending everything's perfect when it's not. It's about deciding not to let every little thing dictate your mood. Next time something annoying happens, try just mentally shrugging it off. Like, okay, that's inconvenient, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. You might be surprised how quickly things lose their power when you don't give them the reaction they expect.
So don't feed the gremlins and don't feed the negative emotions either. Got it.
Exactly. And that brings me to the third mental shift I've been playing with how we label the things that happen to us. I call this one labels, or how I stopped naming my problems like they're pads.
Labels. You mean the words we use to describe our experiences?
Exactly. We humans love to categorize things, right?
Yeah.
Good, bad, success, failure, problem, solution. It's like we're constantly running this internal labeling machine. But what I've realized is that those labels, especially the negative ones, they aren't just neutral descriptions. They're like magnets, attracting more of the same energy.
Yeah.
You label something a problem, and suddenly it feels heavier, more persistent, like it's resisting your attempts to solve it.
So the label actually makes the problem feel worse.
I think so. I used to do this all the time. Running late, problem, burnt dinner, problem, traffic jam, huge problem. And each label came with this wave of negative feelings. Like my day was just this endless series of things going wrong.
It's like you're setting yourself up for a bad day just by the way you're talking about it.
Exactly. And then I came across this old story, I think it's from Chinese philosophy, that really changed my thinking. It's about a farmer whose horse runs away.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
So the horse runs away, and all the villagers come to console the farmer, saying, "Oh no, what terrible luck." But the farmer just says, "Maybe." The next day, the horse comes back, bringing a whole herd of wild horses with it. Now the villagers are all excited, saying, "Wow, what amazing luck." But the farmer just says, "Maybe."
He's pretty stoic, that farmer.
Right. Then the farmer's son tries to break one of the wild horses and falls, breaking his leg. The villagers all say, "Oh no, that's awful." But the farmer, again, just says, "Maybe." And then the next year, war breaks out, and all the young men in the village are drafted. But the farmer's son is spared because of his broken leg. You know what the villagers say.
What incredible luck.
Yep. And the farmer just says, "Maybe."
It's a great story about how we never really know the full implications of any event.
Yeah.
What seems bad might turn out good, and vice versa.
Exactly. And the farmer understood something important. Life is just a series of events, a flow of things happening. We're the ones who decide whether something is good or bad, lucky or unlucky. It's our interpretation that gives it meaning. And that story really hit home for me. I realized I was the one turning minor inconveniences into major dramas just by labeling them problems.
So you started paying attention to the labels you were using?
I did. And I started trying to be more neutral. Instead of saying problem, I'd say situation or event or just stuff happening. And Honestly, it's made a big difference. Like last week, my car wouldn't start. My immediate reaction could have been, oh, great, another problem. This is going to ruin my day.
Mhm.
But instead, I remembered the farmer. I thought, okay, the car's not starting. It's just a thing that's happening. And you know what? I ended up getting a ride from a neighbor I hadn't talked to in ages. We had a great conversation, caught up on each other's lives. The whole thing turned out to be a nice little unexpected connection.
Wow, that's amazing. So by not labeling it a problem, you actually opened yourself up to a positive experience.
That's exactly how it felt. So now I try really hard to avoid using the word problem in my head. And I swear, life feels less stressful, more manageable.
That's powerful. So to recap, you're saying the three big shifts are: one, focus on the desired outcome, not the problem. Two, manage your emotional reactions, don't let them control you. And three, be mindful of the labels you use, avoid calling everything a problem.
That's it. It's not magic, but it does feel like it changes how I experience the world. Like just the other day, I woke up late, missed an online registration deadline, and my blender broke. Old me would have been freaking out, calling it one of those days. But new me, I focused on what I could still accomplish that morning, laughed off the blender situation, and didn't let it ruin my mood. And guess what? The registration window reopened, and a friend offered me their spare blender.
So even though things went wrong, you didn't let it spiral into a negative experience.
Exactly. And now I want to challenge you, our listener, to try this too. For just 1 week, try these 3 shifts. When something annoying happens, see if you can gently redirect your focus. Observe your emotions without getting swept away, and be careful about labeling things problems. Treat it like an experiment. See what happens.
I love that idea. It's like taking back control of our internal world, which then impacts our external reality.
Exactly. And look, if you're skeptical, I get it. I was too. But I've seen firsthand how these shifts can make a difference. It's not about magically bending reality to our will. It's about choosing how we interact with it, how we experience it.
It's about recognizing our own agency, our own power to shape our reality.
Yes. So go out there and have a, well, maybe not a problem-free day, but a day where you're more in control of your internal experience. And hey, while you're at it, pay attention to how your own perception might be shaping your reality. It's pretty mind-blowing when you start to see it.
It really is. Thanks for this deep dive. It's given me a lot to think about.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, here's to a day filled with more positive happenings than frustrating ones.
Cheers to that.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.